Don't drown in the dust. The land of the sand one's a prize on your hand. Hold tight, don't lose your way. Chasing for the glory to the end. Don't run, be the one. Bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret eye, win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground off the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Stand up, don't drown in the dust. The land of the sand knows the answer in your head. Hold tight, it's worth the try. Chasing for the glory in the fight. Don't run, you're the one. Bring all your dreams to the glorious kingdom. Are you hearing the voice of Seth call your name? Lost in the storm, hold your face and sword. Go fight a secret eye, win this war. We rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. We rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. We rise up, climb on, choose the highest ground off the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause we are the kings, we are the queens. We will rise up to the top. Even when you fall, sticks and stones may break your bones, but you are stronger than the heaviest waves. The earthquake won't shake you, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen, you are the truth of the land. You rise up higher, reach for the sky. Hold on to your weapons with pride. You rise up higher, conquer the ark. Get ready to fight for your life. You rise up, climb to the highest ground off the pyramid of life. Let the spirit get you high, 'cause you are the king, you are the queen. You will rise up to the top.
A grandiose battle is coming. We've all been waiting for this battle to happen. But mostly, the god of the dead, Osiris. The 32 division champions of each realm have progressed to the playoffs, but only one will be crowned champion. The Grand Trophy is awarded to the strongest in the Hall of Fame. But who is worthy now? Are you strong enough to become a champion? Prove it. Overwhelm your enemies. Show off your skills. And be everyone's bet. Let the fight begin.
What is going on, governors? Chiscool here, and today we are casting the Arc of Osiris League Season 4 Top 32. We've got a number of matches today that are going to be amazing. Every team that is in this Top 32 is top tier. We're going to be casting the Realm of Horus. Some of the teams that have been in the game for the longest will be doing battle. And today, we're casting Song from K114 versus OV, the reigning champions. Now, there are a number of reasons why this matchup is so exciting. But first, let's introduce the other casters that are going to be with us here today. There's going to be two casters joining us in the booth. First, you remember he's been with us and casting and hosting in the past. Dragothian, why don't you say hello, my friend?
Hello, everybody in the stream. Seeing everybody ask about us is warming to the heart on this Mother's Day. Thank you, Chisco, for the quick intro.
Yeah, hey, happy Mother's Day to those of you out there celebrating, having a grand time. I know I'll be doing that later today. And the other caster joining us today for the first time on the official Rise of Kingdoms channel. They're also going to be hosting the 15 UTC matchup. Bulbaritos. Hey, my friend, welcome.
What's going on, everybody? How's it going? Happy Mother's Day to everybody. I hope y'all are ready and excited for this amazing match that we're about to cover.
Yeah, this match, I mean, it's gonna be fire. So the thing that makes this matchup exciting, and honestly, there's a lot to talk about here, is that, first of all, okay, so people want to see OV play. They won last season. They're very top tier. There's new commanders that are going to shake things up potentially, which means maybe OV is going to deploy them and show off what they can do. Unless maybe they're being sneaky and they hide those commanders. They don't use the new stuff yet because they don't want to show off their flashy moves till the finals. But the team they're playing against, well, they're from 114. 114 has a lot of players that migrated from 411, who you saw in that intro sequence as former champions of one of the other realms. So I think this is going to be a really exciting matchup. 114, they know what they're doing in Arc. They've got, by the way, a lot of really top tier players with top equipment, top commanders. I mean, they've got an unbelievable amount of muscle supporting them in this matchup. But gentlemen, we've only got a couple minutes before we jump in, but what are the things you're most hyped for about this particular matchup?
You know, Ches, I'm really looking forward to, like you just said, seeing what's new on the battlefield, what's deployed, new strategies as always. It's a new season. New seasons equal new games and matches, and I love seeing all these new, speaking of new alliances in the playoffs, not just for Realm of Horus, but for all four realms. Can you believe that? 4 realms, Chisco? Absolutely incredible. That's what I'm looking forward to. The strategy, the deployment of that strategy, and talking about the execution.
Nice, Boba.
Yeah, on my what I'm really focused on this match is I want to see how the breakoffs are going to occur, because from what we've been seeing and I've been watching, 114S are very aggressive. They include a lot of old JWM players from the original previous seasons. They have some, they're some old BBTH members as well. And for those of y'all who remember last season, they were very aggressive off the breakoff. And I want to see how OV adapt or, counter that aggression right off the rip. So for me, it's going to come down to strategy off breakoffs, as well as what the new meta for the commanders are going to change from mid game. I really do think mid game is going to switch up quite a bit with the new meta. So that's what I'm keeping my eyes on for.
Yeah, I mean, new commanders at play here. We've got XY and Yadviga. New cavalry commanders, Rally, Garrison, Field. They could really shake things up. And I'm looking at the clock here. We've got less than a minute before this matchup's going to begin here. Then we'll enter into the match. We'll have 3 minutes to sort of chat a little bit more about this as we go. I think the commanders are going to be really exciting to see. And before we jump into that matchup, by the way, this is the F division. So the 2 spots that are available, and only 2 teams will advance from each division, is right over here. You see F2, and also on the other side of the bracket, F1. That's where they will land in the round of 16 if they advance. But I think it's just about time to get into this matchup. Here we go. Let's see if we can enter. Not quite yet. Maybe I got to back out and rejoin here. Let's get a look. There we go. Song versus OV. Let's jump into this matchup real quick. All right, the game's giving us a look here at the combatants. We'll get a closer look at this as well. You'll notice that these folks are nearly 4 billion power from the side of 114. And for OV, they're also almost 4 bill. They're at 3.7. Obviously, at the power levels that these teams have, I mean, power is not going to be the deciding factor. Although, gentlemen, there have been some teams in this Osiris League that have been pretty beat up from their KVKs.
I mean, you would definitely be, talking from experience, right? Just go, you guys put on an absolute show on your KVK, and also have a matchup today at 15 UTC, if I'm not mistaken. And, I'm staring at both of these sides here. Song from 114 in that same KVK that we were just referencing, and OV in their own KVK up against another heavyweight in the Osiris League as JWM. So, man, I mean, it all ties together, doesn't it? KVK and Osiris League. Sometimes people say that you can only do one really well. Well, let's see if they can do both really well this season and not only take home the nice rewards from KVK, but also take home that well-coveted trophy of Osiris League.
Yeah, I mean, I think both of these teams were able to create situations in their KVK that leave them at pretty high strength for this matchup. Bulba, what are your thoughts on these teams and what we're going to see here at the start?
Well, I can tell y'all from the previous matches that we've been watching, for those of y'all who remember last season with BBTH and a couple other teams, how they do a very aggressive forward push right off the rip to the altars. And even in certain circumstances, I've seen 114S push all the way to the enemy obelisk, and it is very unusual, but it instantly puts pressure on the enemy. So what I'm looking for is I want to see if OV were able to strategize in order to counter that aggression with either use of commanders, or they're going to meet the aggression, very similar to what happened with BBTH versus Snow last season, where Snow hard countered that BBTH aggression right off the rip. So that's what I'm keeping my eyes on for right now. So I'm going to be paying attention to that song pass or song gate right off the rip.
Nice. Well, speaking of right off the rip, here we go. The match begins. We'll see what they do. Dragothian, as these folks enter into the battlefield, what do you think is the likelihood that we're going to see obelisk aggression at the start from these teams?
I mean, if there's a measurable number for probability above 100%, I would select that one.
Okay.
I definitely am looking forward to seeing some obelisk play, some touching tips when it comes to playing at the obelisk and having a good time there. I definitely am looking forward to seeing hard push being used here in the next 10 seconds or so, if not less, and seeing some counterplay at the obelisk, because that can completely throw off any type of strategy. And there's a hard push right there from Song. Right off the bat, if you can take the obelisk, or if you can contest it to the point where they're not counting down that timer, which is critical to teleport in first, there's OV's hard push. It could be a disaster for your team if you lose that right off the bat.
Now
real quick. Oh,
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Real quick, I am noticing on the side of 114S, they have a ton of cav coming out with support from Trajan as well. So they aren't running as many infantry. So that's something to be, we could probably pay attention to just off the rip, because there is a ton of cav. So they definitely will be pushing pretty hard.
Yeah, no, it's definitely exciting to see all these cav coming forward. And there's a balance of these different troop types that we should be getting a look at here as we watch this battle unfold. I know the civilizations that give a little bit of march speed are very popular because they move quickly, but also cavalry move faster. So maybe they're making a play for something at the start.
they should be making a play for all the building. And this is for any Osiris League team or ARC team in general. A strong strategy right now is really going hard at the opposing structures right away. If you can capture that first occupation bonus, which can total up to a large amount of points, close to 2,500 points, if you take all 4 offensive structures away from your opponent, that could be the difference, guys. A lot of these matches, especially in Osiris League playoffs, are decided by 1,500 points or less. So if you can take the offensive structures, you can really make yourself very competitive regardless of strategy. And if you're going to do that, you got to get there first, right? Which takes speed. And usually that references the cavalry play, maybe even a few archers with Edward and Tommy or Edward and El Cid, something like that. And as I'm talking, I see a Belisarius-led march from Slouty on the top lane heading to the obelisk for Song, and they're basically slapping hands on the way by. You have an Alex rally coming in from Song, both counter breaking each other. This is the strategy we're talking about. Who's going to take that first occupation? That's what they're looking for.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, deploying those troops right there.
Now, on the side of OVE, just keep an eye out. They are running a Saladin rally going towards the bottom side obelisk for 114S, and they did switch up some of their starting troops, and they just broke it off right in the middle, where they are running a lot more cav than they usually do as well. So we'll keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, all the rallies have now broken. So is there 0 obelisk aggression? I guess we ended up with 0 obelisk aggression at the start of this matchup. I guess Dragothian, not the over 100% you were thinking it was going to be.
Well, I guess I gotta say, you gotta have the opportunity, right? Look at the obelisks, the area for the blue side, already porting in, by the way, on the bottom lane for blue. Same thing for OV on the top lane, already porting into their obelisks. Slouty popping in there, Nana popping in there. You got to have the opportunity. You don't want to send a rally with 50 marches around the obelisk. That's just a waste. At least give yourself the opportunity, like what OV is doing right now. Mimi hiding in the caravan with her Jadwiga at the top lane. 1 minute left before this desert altar pops open. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough time to stay alive, but you should see, and I do, tons of marches flooding in from the bottom of OB on OV on the top lane here. If they can snag it, they will reinforce it with a Jadwiga, and they will load it up with troops. And that's why they're all cav, by the way, because they're going to be leading with Jadwiga.
Yeah, I see her moving across the field here. I'm really not sure where she's going. I don't know if they feel like maybe they just can't get it at this point, or where they're headed with those calves.
Just trying to do her best
dancing
John Wick
around.
impression. Exactly right.
Fair
They
enough.
are going opposite as well. OV is pushing topside. They're very aggressive on the top, and on the bottom, they're playing fairly defensive on their desert altar. So we're getting kind of a flip flop as well. So it's going to be very interesting. But we did notice on the top side with Jadwiga, she was getting swarmed right off the rip in the open field. So that's, we're going to keep an eye on that. I think they're both playing to their strengths with the cav and going from there. So this is the first sample of meta change a little bit.
There it is, gentlemen. Jadwiga captain. Wow, OV snakes the altar right out from underneath the feet of Song, and now reinforcing it, Jadwiga captain. That is top tier garrison here. Song could not possibly have been expecting that this would be the position they would be in, and because hard push likely still active here, they've got a huge window of opportunity to cap this thing and maybe even get first capture points. Look at this OV presence.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, I'm also looking at this Jadwiga defense, and I got to be honest, I'm not too impressed with the anti-swarm capabilities of Jadwiga. I mean, she with YSS is very strong, and from the testing that I've seen across the board here, is probably the strongest against any type of archer rally, whether it be Nebu Ramses, Nebu YSG, Ramses YSG, any combination of the top tier archer commanders. But I don't know if she's the best for anti-swarm. And I'm looking right now, I see Song really swarming this structure down, and heavy numbers on Jadwiga, and all the OV folks are dying and all the Song folks are not. So I don't know if this is necessarily the best offensive garrison. I think it's probably going to be, as we see the Osiris League system play out this season, one of the best defensive, especially if there's a ton of archer rallies. I still think Xeno YSS, even maybe a Jadwiga Wu would be better off in this situation because of the anti-swarm.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. It's still holding, Dragothian. 11 seconds and they get the first capture points. I don't think there's any way in which they lose that first cap. Wow. 3, 2, 1. And there it is. OV occupying the song altar right out of the gates. That is some magical aggression.
So I also like what they did on bottom side as well. On bottom side, they did progress forward. So they are, pushing that forward momentum onto the side in forcing 114S to have to play very defensively around their Shrine of War. We're also getting around the time where we're going to probably start seeing people start to rotate towards mid with 4.5 minutes. So probably in the next minute, you're going to start seeing the rotation coming through towards the mid. So it's going to be very interesting to see how those troops, the timing of them killing those troops right off of the first occupation to steal it, timed up very, very well. So they should be coming in. They'll probably come a little late towards the middle, but they should be, arriving right in time for some epic mid battles.
Bulba and Chisco. So speaking of, the rotation to the mid, which is obviously a key part of everybody's strategy, Song's been there for a bit. As soon as I stopped talking, I saw the timer and I looked in the middle, and there's already about 3 players worth of Song folks. Although I'm not 100% on why they're positioned where they're at, they could take this opportunity, basically having a clear lane altogether, and really kind of plunk themselves in what would normally be the murder ball, so to speak, of OV in their spot. But instead, they're just kind of positioning on their own side. I think that's a mistake on Song's side, because they could have definitely disrupted at least OV's organization right now, having rallies coming up through the middle as well, ROV from Slouty. I wonder if this is a rally to get some troops to the middle, or if this is actually a rally that's going to go across the map. Let's see if they break it or not.
The aggression on structures is tremendous at the start here, but the map is now almost even. In fact, there it is. The map is perfectly even. 3 minutes, 10 seconds until we need to form up at the middle for the arc spawn here. It looks like teams are starting to get here with a little bit of marches here and there. I think that with the exception of that altar grab at the start on the part of OV, things are mostly stable.
Just watch this rotation from OV side coming towards mid. They just launched that rally, broke it off in mid, and have some quick reinforcements as well. So now they actually own the numbers game currently right now in mid. You're going to start seeing them pop up from the bottom side coming out. There's Dr. Strange. You got names that everybody knows. They're now starting to come in and flood. I am very surprised that they're posturing up on the backside though from OV. Typically there you go. As I say
I say it.
They're definitely
there
doing
it
that.
is.
If you look at the top of the lane too, guys, Bulba's Trajan was sitting there, and I think it still might be coming or not. Can't tell if it's been smacked down already or not. But Bulba had his Trajan coming from basically the obelisk on the top lane. And I think it got destroyed and sent back home. I'm almost 100%. I think it just might have been on the wrong side of the map with the pathing, but nope, there it is. It's still there. It's trying to come. It's sneaking at the top there. Nope, there it goes. So Slouty's Trajan is not going to be an impact on the field. However, look where OV is positioning. This is exactly why they tend to win the middle fights. In the middle, at 1 minute and 40 seconds left, they own the temple area. They're going to wait, and they're going to plunk their 50 players right here, or 50 marches, I should say, right here on the front of the temple. And if you want to come towards the temple to actually get it, you're going to either have to get it on the other side, on OV's side, or you're going to have to go through an absolute chainsaw of AoE and debuffs and slows and every negative thing that you can think of for an open field player to have to deal with. That's all in that red little ball right there, right beside the Temple of Osiris.
By the way, gentlemen, quick grab on the altar for OV on the left-hand side of the map. So OV now in control of 3 of the altars, as they also have position on the Temple of Osiris. 54 seconds. How much longer are they going to wait?
Just a quick note. The longer they wait, I'm very surprised and impressed that OV is actually being the aggressor in this one. It actually favors them to force Song to come to them with 40 seconds in, but they're being the aggressors. And just like that, Chisco, notice the meta shift quite a bit. There's quite a few Trojans rotating in this mid game for on the side of OV, as well as Saladins. So we're starting to see those combos switch up a little bit in mid game.
Yeah, not a coincidence. I have expertise Trajan on 2 of my accounts.
I'm
He's
gonna
real
one-up you
good.
so bad.
Yeah, going for 3.
Going for 3.
There's
yeah,
war
so, I mean,
drums.
we're adding, right? We're complementing. Trajan is going to be a must-have on the open field, especially in Ark of Osiris. I think we said it from the very beginning, looking at his skills. Trajan and Osiris League are basically one and the same, but also seeing the same standard, right? You see a lot of Artemisia, you see a lot of Saladin William, you see a lot of Guan, you see a lot of Nebu, you see a lot of again, Trajan Herald is on the field now. Again, you see a lot of Guan Herald. Those are all the standard, but using these new commanders, especially XY, I'm curious to see if anybody's able to use double C XY, which is the fastest march on the field now, by the way, guys. That's the fastest you can get for Osiris League, for Ark in general. If you're tapped, you get an extra bonus movement speed. Just don't attack anything with your march, and you will be super fast.
Well, we do see the Ark here slightly to the side of OV now. I've got a little banner up on my screen that doesn't want to go away also. We'll see if we can address that right after this Ark capture. Slouty picking up the Ark, looking to move it, but knocked down. Gentlemen, who is winning this mid-fight?
I think we're going to start noticing. So you're seeing a lot of sad faces coming out from OV, but keep in mind, there were a lot of half-dead marches that were coming through mid. So a lot of those are starting to get knocked out pretty quickly here. But 114S, they just aren't moving the arc. And that's what we're looking for in these big boy arcs, is you're looking to slowly start inching the arc back and back and back, because it's very rare that you're going to be able to clear out the whole field. But I'm just not.
I don't know. I think Song might be about to clear out the whole field.
I don't think Song are focusing at all on picking the arc up. They're just clearing the field. They're like, okay, well, you can't take it if there's no marches here. So let's just do that instead. I haven't seen them try to pick it up except for right now, one time. It's all been red marches trying to pick that arc up, and they just focus it instantly. So, I mean, look at this. Now they have the forward presence. Snow running away with it. Although, again, I would have loved to have seen a double C XY with this, just to see it, because I know it's the fastest, and I've been screaming it for the last 3 weeks, trying to get this going. But maybe we'll see that here in just a second. That Saladin Williams going to go down right there from Sam, and there he goes. This is basically Song's arc to lose, guys. I don't see anything coming from the sides on either lane. I see 2 people doing some caravanning on the bottom lane here by the middle. I see Antoon trying to come around here and maybe try and make a play for maybe the outpost here of Ice-It. But if they're smart, I think we've been saying this from a long time here, Desert Altar is the play for you to take that arc. And now they're pulling to the sides. I think OV knows they're not going to get this arc in the middle. And that's a huge blow, guys. I don't know if this is necessarily known, obviously, but OV losing an arc, that just doesn't happen in Osiris League. They don't lose arcs.
It's very,
this is
very
why
rare.
I thought this match would be really good to cast, because as I said at the start, man, Song has an unbelievable amount of muscle. Top tier commanders, whatever they need, whatever they want, top tier equipment at their disposal. And that muscle is what led to that arc victory. They were disadvantaged in the position, and they still left with the arc? What?
Yeah, I would look for the structure game to really start getting going in a quick way for OV. What do you think, Bubba?
I think what's very, very interesting is from last season, I know everybody was very hyped with SFS and how well they did in mid. And then we came out and saw OV just come out and just punch them in the mouth in the mid. And that's kind of what I expected. So for a Song to come out and do essentially the same thing, that is very, very surprising. But we're going to keep an eye. OV on bottom side are starting to progress forward. But you see the wraparound from mid that Song is doing towards that Desert Altar with Zenobia Garrison. So we're going to keep an eye. They're kind of playing the field game right now to see if maybe they might be able to stop this arc carrier. And it's going to get real dicey very quick if they swarm this arc carrier instead of swarm the shrine.
We're just doing a quick restart on our game real quick to see if I can get rid of that ribbon that's on the screen.
While
there.
While you're doing that, just to kind of speak to what's happening here, OV has the a little Belisarius March tap in the Arc Carrier, but he's about to die. So Song pretty much has this, but they're going to have to take it back to their obelisk because heavy, heavy presence on the bottom lane of this match against the Shrine of War of Song. And with that presence comes a renewed threat to this Arc Carrier.
I think they're just going to push all the way through. I don't think they're pushing that structure. What I think they're going to do right here, I think they're going to swarm this guy out, and I think they're going to try to take an outpost and snub it through the back.
Luckily for Song, I think they've got enough open field presence here to cover the few that have. It looks like they've gotten a mixed signal. They've got a rally coming in. They've got a couple swarmers on the Shrine of War. They also have a few people saying, "Ooh, there's an Arc Carrier. Let's go get him." But I think if they would have done what you had said there, Bubba, and really kind of concentrated fully on at least disrupting that arc, that could have been a huge deal, especially with this push. Now looking at 4 red altars for OV. All 4 altars in favor of OV.
And now
that is aggression.
And now the points per minute swinging double in favor of OV right now. So that occupation score is going to come in, even with this arc being captured. It's the first arc, so it's 3,000 points. So even if they do capture this right now, it will be a very, very small lead. And with this occupation score swinging in favor of OV, it's really going to make this arc worth little to nothing. So
OV sitting on all 4 altars, about to get the Shrine of War. We're looking at that XY rally. Boom, there it is. The only structures still in the hands of Song are the Shrine of Life, 4 of the outposts, and the 2 obelisks. So they are really paying dearly for getting this arc. Do you think this was the plan all along for OV, that this is what they would do?
It would be an adjustment. Because again, I mean, I think we've seen in every single season that they have really relied on getting every single arc, and not necessarily the first one, which is again what we're at right now, but still winning every single arc because they've been known to lose some structures. Now this match, with the exception of the outposts, I haven't really seen them lose any structures. Maybe they've shifted a few of those players from the middle back to their altar, back to their shrines, to maybe keep these structures, and losing 1 arc isn't necessarily the end of the world anymore. And now that we're looking at the points here, right, it's almost a 400 point per minute delta in favor of OV. Now, again, Song's got the arc, but it's 3,000 points. It's literally going to knot it up. It's going to make the actual score equal, and we're back to square one. Like the last 20 minutes didn't happen, which is great, right? We're back to square one, 0-0, and now it's going to be about the next, basically 2 arcs, I think. There's going to be 2 arcs that's going to decide this match.
So just real quick, I know that Song is holding the arc, and for those of y'all who kind of don't know why they would hold the arc, right now they're trying to reset the field and reset their marches prior to capturing it, because what you're trying to do is you're trying to make sure for the next mid-rotation, because it is going to be that critical, that you have as many fresh full marches as you can in the mid in order to make sure that you're working towards that arc capture. And Song is going to need, the way the occupation's going right now, they're going to need, probably almost all the arcs are going to need almost all the way the occupation's swinging right now in favor of OV. So that's something to keep our eyes on.
1 altar flipping back. Many structures under contention here still, though.
Look at that points per minute.
Yeah, 210 for Song and Blue to the 760 for OV and Red. 550 points, or I guess, 550 points a minute. Jeez, that is going to add up fast.
Back. There it is right there. Yeah, top lane flips back. Guan Garrison for OV, I think, kind of helped it out just a little bit, but still very, very tanky, and having that structure for what? Oh my goodness, at least a couple minutes, right? That's a few hundred points that go in favor of OV, and holding the arc, as well as Song did in the middle. I don't know if this is the right strategy. I mean, did they go all in knowing that OV likes to basically win the matches by winning the arc? Look at Song swarming down the Shrine of War, trying to knot it up equal again, but now even capturing the arc, you're looking at being down by almost 1,000 points. I don't know if not capturing that arc and holding it is the play here. I think that doing that same thing over and over and over again, if you win the second, if you win the third, you're going to win the match, because those are 4,000 and 4,500 points each. you might want to have that in your back pocket in case you're going to be losing the structures like you have been all match.
Now, just a quick heads up on bottom side Sky Altar. In Song Sky Altar, we have the XY William. There was 0 swarm, and I was watching this whole time. 0 swarm on this, and Zeno is still melting him. So I know that we've been seeing those really, really nasty reports in KVK, but Zenobia is still melting him. There was 0 swarm on this. So, maybe that Cav rally gear, combo. We're gonna keep paying attention to those kinds of deals throughout all these other matches to see how they work out. But Zeno is still melting as a garrison there. So
yeah, I think we've seen every rally combo now on the field. We've seen several variations of Cavs, several variations of archers, garrisons, including the new Cavs for a fast forward cap, but mostly Zenobia's still dominating. Song was using Wu Zetian as the secondary in the upper left altar, and over here, probably a YSS. There it is. That dragon boat, unmistakable. So Xeno YSS still very popular.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think people get a little excited, right? They get a little excited whenever new commanders are out, especially right as the playoffs for Osiris League is here. And XY is a strong commander, and again, designated as a primary Ark of Osiris and Osiris League commander, primarily, right? But still, I think that it's not the rallies that tend to, especially with Xeno and all these amazing garrison commanders that we've got now. It's not the rallies that win the structures anymore, guys. It's the swarm. If you don't have the swarm, it's just not going to go down. It's just not.
I don't want to cut you all off, but I'm actually watching OV topside by the obelisk swarming down provisioners right off the rip. So there is actually a dedicated person who is doing nothing but swarming out provisioners. Already killed 2 on nodes, and they were in the node, got stuck. So somebody fell asleep, and they lost all their provisions that they have had thus far. So that is a big deal. I know you'll see the blue lines coming in. There's a couple that were right there, and they just started swarming them. So that's something to keep an eye on. That's going to affect provision scores at the end of the game. But it's a smart play. It's a smart play.
It looks like we're seeing a lot of aggression now from Song on structures. On the bottom lane here, both structures getting hit, although OV, I think, has enough defenses here to hold this. 5 minutes remain before Song is obligated to capture this arc or end up forfeiting it.
5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time, but not a long time at the same time. I mean, in Osiris League, it can be forever. It just depends on what part of the match you're on as to how quick that 5 minutes goes by. Right now, we're at 4.5 so far, and because of that, there's been no transition to the middle. Everybody's really focusing on structures, and that's why, again, unless you absolutely cannot, if you just don't think you're going to win the middle more often than your opponent, I just don't understand why you would hold this. Because if you're holding it, I know that you can focus on the structures and reset, but that means your opponent can too. They can go ahead and reset and maybe send them a march or 2 to go kill your provisioners, like Bulba just said, and take out what could be 1,000 points that may have gone down in Song's favor, and now they're just gone. OV getting the opportunity to do that, letting them focus on their structure game and also their anti-provision game.
I will say, Song is now winning the points per minute game by 90 points per minute. That ain't bad. Although OV about to make some serious plays on this desert altar. Holy jeez, they are going for it. Look at all these marches.
Got rallies and counter rallies.
Yeah. Archer rally walking through that area, getting hit with some AoE too. Interesting, they're not going to cancel the rally to defend this thing, so I guess they must be very confident that they're going to hold this desert altar, even without support here. You can see some Tamaris debuffs stacking up on that rally. Oh yeah, it's going to start taking some serious damage.
As long as they fill that garrison up. They got a Zenobia in there. But I don't see that. There it goes. I was like, I don't see that thing there. There it goes again. Okay. Yeah, they're definitely putting some more troops in there. Sometimes it's just hard to click that structure, guys. When you've got 100 marches sitting around there, it's just hard to click it.
Yeah, no, genuinely it is. Yeah.
Now I'm zooming around the map and checking out, because I know that we're focused on the buildings and everything, but I wanted to see how early provisioners were going to come if they were down by so much by 114S, and they have about 12 provision marches on the field right now, and that was
That's a
about
lot.
10 minutes, and it's a lot. That is a lot of missing marches that you aren't going to have for mid, or you aren't going to
Look at the
have for.
top. Look at the top Sky Altar. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
It's going to go down.
It's about 14
There it
or
goes.
12 to 14 provision marches in favor of 114S compared to about the 3 or 4 that I saw for OV.
So I'm definitely, I mean, you got to hand it to Song here. They held the arc, and while they did so, they regained their structures, are now winning the points per minute game, and now hold 3 altars at the same time. Whoa. If you're OV, are you starting to worry?
The outpost game. Look at what 114S. I know everybody laughs about it because they're worth 30 points per minute, but they start when you take all 3 of them. That's 90 points per minute, guys. That adds up really quick. So 114S doing the little things right now, the dirty work in the back end, and that's the points per minute double in favor of Song now.
OV taking it back at the top, guys, and there's still 8 marches there. Sometimes I scratch my head with that because that's 8 marches that could have gone 10 marches at least that could have gone in that structure to keep it for a little while longer, capture it, and start taking some points. If you take the structure in this part of the game, it doesn't really do you any good unless you, well, it does, but it does you better good if you are able to keep it. And they just did it again. They took it back. They've got a Guan in there now. I think they had an Artemisia in there before. I think that's the play. Put that Artemisia back in there to at least try and get some AoE damage and keep that thing ticking for blue. The Desert Altar on the bottom lane too was looking very strong against OV, but looks like OV able to hold it off just enough against that almost solo Trajan, what is left now. Solo Trajan and Guan and maybe a little Salad in action. 30 seconds, by the way, before this arc resets on its own.
Now, what happens in the 20 seconds when that thing ticks? Did they just drop it, or does it go back to the middle?
It resets.
It resets.
Oh gosh, are they gonna forget?
Lose 3,000. Oh, there it goes.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes.
I'm nervous there.
Evened up at 16.
I was getting really nervous for them. Like, you gotta cap that. You gotta cap that. You gotta cap that. Okay, there it is. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine you like disconnect right at that moment, and it's like, no.
That's why I never do that.
Yeah, don't wait that long. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk strategy for a second, right? 27 minutes, 41 seconds, 7 minutes, and 50 seconds though till the arc spawns.
70.
So this arc is going to spawn in with 20 minutes to cap it. They could go for 3 arcs with a fast cap. I think if you're Song though, I guess you don't care about having that many arcs. You try to win the next one, and then you win the game, right?
This is going to be a tough one. So the only thing that I will say is I know OV, unless they switch their strat up in mid, they typically always pop to the death second arc. So if you're Song, you're ready, you're coming ready in that mid game where for skills getting popped to the death, you're basically you're gonna see the unload of skills in mid to fight for this last arc, because I really don't see them going for a third one. I think this next arc is going to get battled out for the next 15 minutes back and forth. So
Agreed.
That's something that I would definitely keep an eye on. I know OV in every single match we've watched, they pop to the death every single time on second arc. So that's something to pay attention to when we go mid.
That is interesting. So then what do they use on a third arc if they use to the death on the second?
They usually use what was the one they used the counter? They used the counter. It was the healing skill. Heaven's Grace. Yes, they use Heaven's Grace on the third, and then they usually pop Mystical Formation in combination with those two, and that's how they hard counter. Yeah, or bog down. Yeah, and that's how they typically hard counter to the death.
Yeah, bog down the team that used to the death and then walk away.
Good day.
Bye. Oh my gosh.
So looking at the map here at the top as well, OV getting on the outpost game here very, very quickly as well. 2 for OV, and almost every single structure is blinking, but it looks like they're not necessarily supported rallies, except for the one from OV against the Desert Altar on the top lane, for sure, looking very strong. Could go down. Same on the bottom too. 5.5 minutes almost left until this arc spawns, and both altars are getting heavy Anti-song, anti-song aggression. OV basically looking to take both of these altars right before this arc spawns. That is a strong play, but Song looking very strong at the top on that altar. Bottom is a little more iffy. OV looking a little stronger, but could possibly hold it as well. Depends on how strong this swarm is.
And look at that point. Look at those points, baby. Song finally take the lead overall in points just in time for rotation for the next arc. So it's going to be a good arc battle in the middle.
It sure is. 5 minutes till arc spawn, and I cannot remember the last time I saw a game where there was just this much aggression on structures, right? I mean, at every moment, everywhere you look, there's 3 or 4 structures getting hit. It's pretty aggressive.
You know, with the changes to provisioning, because I think that a lot of top tier teams, they had at least 3 or 4 people really, really focusing on provisioning because of how many points you would get. That's why we were seeing 15, 16, 18,000 points sometimes on provisions last season. With the changes, I know that it's not as strong, but it still is strong. So you need to have some people going there, but maybe shuffling some of those provisioning folks back over to rally offense, going for the swarms alongside of reinforcing if you do take it. I think what might be throwing OV off just a little bit right now is a lot of these pushes, like that top push that we just watched against the Desert Altar on the top lane, against the Desert Altar for Song. It's still going on right now, but Song's holding strong. I think the OV is used to taking it by this point and then shuffling to the middle at 4 minutes, which is their stamp. And right now, the middle is really going to be where the next set of fights are going to be.
Yeah, I don't want to cut you off. We need to go to mid. We got rallies coming in. The forces are starting to line up, posture forward. You're going to see coming through. And we got a Guan coming full infantry. It's about to get real fun real quick. And you'll see the rally a little bit south of those marches coming through. Mm-hmm. And it just broke off. There you go. So they're reinforcing mid through rallies.
Wick, get back there.
Marches. Yeah.
John Wick, DB, get back there.
What are you doing? I can already hear Slouty. I know Lambo from what I heard yelling in the mic.
There he goes. Yep. Somebody get in the 100 mil chat. All right. So here we go. Same thing. This is a repeat of last arc, right? OV positioned correctly up the front. I think Song a little late to the middle.
I don't know, guys. I
don't think OV's gonna push this time. I'm just gonna call
OV has the position, but they don't have the numbers. They're outnumbered like 2-1. Maybe you can't see it because they're all in that little ball, but
they are
Song
stacked.
Dude, I don't know. I think Song has more players.
But I will say they adapted, because if you click through their marches, there's more infantry and there's more AoE this specific rotation. They didn't bring a lot of the XYs and a lot of those kinds of deals. They have a ton of Guans. This is looking very similar to when they played B636, where they brought a bunch of Artemisias and Guans.
Now, Song is pushing. Is pushing. Here we go. Here we go.
I bet you
they don't formation.
Everything yet.
I bet you they pop to the death right when they engage them. Watch this.
Give it a second. Let them engage more, then they'll pop to the death.
Yep.
I told you OV wasn't going to push. They didn't have the numbers. They didn't have. Here we go.
There's the matching mystical formation.
There's
to the death. Yep. OV and Song to the death.
Let's see if somebody does a
look at the rally coming in. The Belisarius rally.
Oh my goodness.
The Belisarius rally. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Somebody going to get enough points for Heaven's Grace. I think that will win. Look at all the red marches going back, though, guys. Bad marches going back there. Okay, blue a little more now. Still, OV's looking like they're losing more.
They didn't bring full health marches to the middle.
Oh, no.
I thought I saw this.
For OV.
It looks like it is. I mean, they had fewer marches from what I could see, although maybe they were all stacked, and the ones they had weren't necessarily full health.
But I want y'all to pay attention to the OV side. They're bringing a ton of marches back from the south. They also have rallies
blue in the middle, Bulba. It's so many. It's so many.
It's GG in the middle, maybe already.
At the bottom, though, OV just took the Sky Altar, or took it 2 minutes ago, actually, or a minute ago.
Yeah,
with,
3 altars. 3 altars.
Yeah, 3 altars in favor. So it's gonna this whole cycle is gonna go over again. But now this arc is worth more, and they just captured it last time and now have the lead at the moment. Does Song. I think they're in a very strong position here. OV is coming to the middle more, like you guys said, but I just don't know if it's enough. Look how strong Song looks in the middle. I see a lot of half-dead marches, though.
Yeah, that's the key. Half-deads right when the arc is about to spawn in 20 seconds. So that's going to be what's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of half-deads.
They're off the arc. Just kill everything coming to the arc and get those half-dead double Cs with the extra 50% march speed from charge to go take those arc back with XY as a secondary. Just do it. I want you to do it so bad. Double C primary, XY secondary. That's the first and last time you'll ever hear me say that.
OV up by about 270 points per minute right now, but still down on the score overall by 600.
Here's the difference. Even though Song has a lot of half-dead marches, they've got the position now with 0 seconds until the arc spawns.
Yeah, there it is.
It's it.
Free grab on the arc.
Yep.
This is why I thought this match would be really interesting to show. Tremendous muscle from 114 in the middle. Wow.
And the arc is off.
OV transitioning, to the Shrine of War on the bottom lane. Go ahead, Bob.
This looks very, very similar to the last arc. So if we look at the occupation on the screen, they have 3 altars again on the side of OV. So it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to start seeing, and I'll look for it, OV starting to send out provisioners, because it's probably going to come down, even with this arc being worth 3,500 points, it's still within rock throwing distance if you are going to keep this points per minute lead, with the last 18 minutes. So we are going to keep an eye whether they do insta capture this, which they are taking it to an outpost. So it does look like they are going to go push for a third arc, which to me, I think we would all kind of agree. I think Song's going to need these arcs in order to.
With their middle play, why not?
Exactly.
Shoot, they should be going after a fourth. I know that it's worked out so far with holding it and everything, but god dang, man, they're just devastating in the middle.
It's undeniable that they are dominating in the center. And I think that's twofold. Like, one is that I don't know that OV had the presence, but maybe that wasn't OV's plan. Now they take the obelisk on the opposing side of the map. They're still holding 3 altars. I mean, it is. I think sooner would have been bigger, but just because it would really interfere with the teleport game. Now the altar is going to flip back to Song. Man, I think that Song is in a pretty dominant position right now.
Seat. Yeah. And now going towards the obelisk,
by the way. He switched roles. He switched it. They're going to hold it. They're going to hold it. They're going to hold it.
Yep. So looking at the altars, right? Because if they're going to hold it, the altars are critical.
Yep.
You need to keep your altars, and really the shrines too, of course, but the altars need to be double reinforced. You need to have anti-swarm. The Shrine of War looking very sus on the bottom lane for Song, but Song coming from the middle to help out. I just don't know if it's going to be quick enough to keep this structure blue. I can't quite see it because of that stupid Guan in the way. But other than that, there we go. Now we can actually see the garrison.
Yeah, he got defeated.
Get out of there, Guan. Come on. Looking strong, though. I think Song's reinforcements coming from the middle is going to, hopefully, they need to get in that structure right now. No, goes down in favor of OV. Oh, boy.
So let me ask y'all this, guys. The call for y'all, what would the call be if you're going to hold the arc? Would y'all just put Zenobias in these structures, play defensively, and play the points per minute game? Or would you continue your aggression and keep trying to trade back and forth and push on to the enemy side? What would y'all's call be?
Depends on how much you think they've provisioned, right?
True.
It's still very close. I mean, 150, 160, 170 points is the difference between them.
That's OV's favor now. That's an OV's
War
favor.
Drums, Insatiable Desire.
Okay, War Drums maybe at the top lane. Nope, there's nobody there. Maybe the bottom lane. Yeah, bottom. I think the bottom is where it's at. I don't see the circle, but
I don't see where it is.
There. It's got to be on a blue structure, right? Like, it's got to be on something.
Where did they use their War Drums?
I don't know. Maybe the top Shrine of Life? No.
Oh, yeah, my goodness. Massive aggression here from OV on the Sky Altar. Bottom lane.
Swirling orange at the moment.
Ooh. The call has been made. 114S are hard provisioning both top and bottom, especially on top. They have almost probably more than half the tiles filled with marches right now.
With the arc, guys, That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
This
With
is a
insatiable
big deal.
desire.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which team is going to win. Let's take a snap poll of the casters right now based on what you see so far. Who do you think is going to win this? 15 minutes left. I couldn't tell you.
I bet. I put my coins on Song, guys. I'm not gonna lie. So I can't say that I'm not rooting for Song to win here, just from a purely selfish perspective. And it's looking strong for them. I'm going to stick with that pick, although all the buildings now starting to flip red. So I don't know if now is the time with 15 minutes left. This is still an open game, guys.
Bulba, what do you think? Who's it leaning toward? Can you who's your guess?
I like the idea of holding the arc in this situation if you are going to do a little bit more provisions. But if you're going to invest that much into provisions, you need to play defensively. You can't progress and be the aggressor with that many marches in the backfield. Like it just, you're always going to be bashing your head against like a wave against a wall. So I like the play here because I'm looking at OV as well, and they only have 5 provision marches on the field right now compared to your 15, almost triple the amount of marches provisioning for 114S. Plus you have the 3,500 points for the arc. I think they will now that speaking, they just lost their altar. So they are losing structures in favor of the provision. So we're going to see, but I do like the play from 114S. So I am going to go with 114S.
They're having some serious captain troubles over here.
Yeah,
holy
I just saw
wow.
That. Yep.
They had a woo, then it was a double C. Now it's Zenobia, but too little, too late.
Hard push from Song. So trying to recapture their own structures and maybe being aggressive on the offensive side too, trying to get those quick captures and basically flip the board, flip the script, right? Because right now OV knows they need to take structures away from Song right now, or this is going to get out of hand very quickly. And the counter to that obviously is aggression, by taking your own stuff back with hard push, getting those structures ticking back in favor of your team. And Song did a good job there, using insatiable desire, getting some provisions there. Hopefully they get to actually keep those. And then on the other side, hitting hard push from Song just before taking that Sky Altar back on the bottom. Would like to see a proper garrison be put back in there. Also getting their Shrine of War back will be in their favor in less than a minute because of hard push.
And the Sky Altar.
That's the play. That's the play, guys. They got all of their structures back. And looking the bottom here, Shrine of War was looking very good in favor of that rally, although with no support, it's going to go down. This Desert Altar looks to have a lot of lines on the bottom lane, though, coming its way from the blue team, disengaging from the Shrine of War, and now going on the offensive with hard push backing them up.
I don't know that there's enough time left in this match for OV to continue with this points per minute game. Although, hold on a minute.
They're investing very heavy into provisions. So if these provisions fall short, guys, OV in the points per minute game, they're already up. Theirs are starting to come in. They're up by 2K now. So
yeah, they are ahead.
It's only worth 3,500. I think some of their provisions started coming in, and Song are just starting to send more out. But also keep in mind, while Drago was talking, I didn't want to interrupt. They did pull back their Sky Altar and their Shrine, and they just started ticking back in their favor as well. So we are at a deadlock points per minute for both teams. So that
wow.
Only yep.
Go ahead, finish thought.
Oh no, I had a brain fart. Sorry.
It's okay.
All good.
I was going to say OV pushing heavy from the bottom lane. OV with their own hard push, guys. So the counter to hard push, I guess, is hard push back. And OV is doing just that. Heavy presence with Nebu, with proper garrison commanders in the swarm coming with it. I see Trajan in there. I see a bunch of Guans and Saladins and Artemisia. Oh my goodness. So they're actually fighting open field. I don't know if this is the right move. Song doing a good job countering. Hulk really leading the charge there from Song. Very strong player from what used to be 114S, by the way, now called Song in 114. Open field fights never get anything done. In Ark of Osiris, that's a big deal. Now, another big deal, in case y'all missed it, the obelisk again on the bottom lane for 114 going down and is now red. And because of hard push, captures in just 40 seconds. Do they pour it in if they cap it?
I think
I don't know what it would accomplish.
I think you'll see one big boy point in and just try to obliterate troops on the smaller guys. But even with these guys, I don't think that's gonna be. I don't think there's enough time to.
I don't
really
think there are
batch
small
that.
guys.
Yeah,
There's
and
no-
that,
I was gonna
and
say,
that's
what's
Nobody
small
from
guy? What are you
114
talking
is
about?
small.
So it's kind of
Click the
like
other person.
it's one of those things they
Yeah.
probably wouldn't, small guys, 15 seconds. So, but I will say OV are being the aggressors on this side. On the bottom side, they're not so much, but on the top side, they are going really, really hard for that desert altar. Super hard, pushing all the way up on the field. So
This
it's gonna come
is
down to the wire.
This is going to come down to the wire, and if you're enjoying this cast, let me remind you to consider throwing a like onto the stream and subscribing to the official Rise of Kingdoms channel for tips, tricks, and guides designed to help you learn how to play the game and enjoy Ark of Osiris. Also, a quick plug, link is in the description for each of our YouTube channels as well. Man, that's a lot of aggression on this desert altar. OV, XY rally.
Song's still looking good though, and the downside of those XY rallies, I mean, look how quickly it's going down to just a few marches swarming. And it doesn't need to be 10 marches to swarm this thing down. A small Tamiris debuff and maybe 3 or 4 marches, and it's dropping pretty quick. And you know, I do see OV Slouty here with his Constantine and his Trajan and his Nebu, you know, and that's the pairs, right? I mean, that's the commanders you want up on this thing, but you see a lot of blue from Song around here. And by the way, OV did capture that obelisk at the top on the bottom lane, but nobody porting in. You know, what if they ported in four players and started rallying from this side, rallying the Shrine of War and the Sky Altar on the bottom lane from their own obelisk, from Song's own obelisk.
I know that I've said many times that OV is a team that can adapt better than probably any other I've seen. But that's a pretty big improvisation from your standard gameplay. Like,
it's massive.
It throws off a little bit of, like, you know, who's where and what they're doing. And
Yep.
I don't know, maybe it gets the job done. They're down, though, 230 points per minute. The score is evening up.
Yep.
I would say
They
even if
still
you're
have
not
the
gonna,
arc, by the way.
I would say even if you're not going to swarm anybody in the obelisk, just having your city be so much closer to the enemy structures could also be a play. Like I'm not saying you won't get swarmed down, but you're going to be, instead of marching across the entire map, you're just reinforcing
right
very,
there.
very closely. You're right
And you're
there.
keeping Song right there too. I mean, Song can't go anywhere. If you're sending rallies from their own obelisk and they're starting there, here we go. Here's Vic porting in, by the way. Probably the smallest player on OV, by the way, porting in. Smart play. So, you know, that being said, I mean, it would keep everybody here, which means your structures are clear, which means you can go provision more, which means everything. So they just took it back. Look at that.
I love what Vic just did, though, because he's just going and hitting, or they're just going and hitting provisioners. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but like somebody's just gonna go swarm him. There's 74 million power. That's not enough.
He just needs one march of Belisarius. I mean,
Now the
my God.
play that I would say, I'm not a big fan of when you are going to attack them, if they're outside the node, you don't want to be hitting them. You want to see the marches that are going to have that slowing effect on those marches, just so you're slowing them enough to the point where they won't reach a city in order to get those occupation points. You don't want to kill them in the field, because once they return, they still score the points.
Yeah.
You either want to kill them on the tile, or you want to slow them down. Yeah, you either want to slow them
Ark
down.
has been captured.
7 minutes left. That's just not enough time. So, yeah, that was the last arc. This is going to come down to provisioning. We've got just under 7 minutes left. OV does have one more shrine than their opponent, but also are down 2 outposts. So points per minute wise, it's only about a really, once everything knots up, 20 point per minute difference. So, you know, with that in mind, I think that it's going to come down to provisioning. Valiant Stand being used by OV on the Shrine of War offensively, and that could help, but there's just so many Song here. I don't think
Looks a little
I think
late
that was
for
kind of a
that.
waste of points. Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit of a waste of Alliance skill points there for OV, but maybe another insatiable desire if they had it on their skill bar. I know Song does.
Yeah, they might have just got enough points to be able to cast the skill, so they cast it when they could, but OV is in some trouble here with
They are.
a deficit of 2,300 points, just about, and only 5 minutes and 50 seconds left. Yeah, they're up 20 points per minute, but that doesn't fill the gap. Is provisioning going to be enough to fill the gap?
It's the only
OV
thing.
made the call. They're matching March for March, but it might be too little too late on the provision side. But they do have almost twice the amount of provision marches.
Yeah, everything's out.
Yep.
OV's about
everything's
to
out.
lose their Desert Altar. Oh, wow. What a crucial reinforcement there. I mean, every point is going to matter for them if provisioning is going to be the difference maker here. This is very dangerous territory that OV is in.
I'd be interested to see if another hard push comes out or if another insatiable desire comes out for Song.
I think it's still on
with
cooldown.
5 minutes left.
I think
100
But I think
Desire.
we have enough time for one of them to get popped.
Right. Yes. There's
Is what I'm
in
saying.
about
So
2
which
minutes
one?
they could.
Yeah. I think maybe a couple minutes we'll see which one they pop, and we'll know their focus for the next 5 minutes here pretty soon. But right now, again, like you guys said, 3,000 points in favor of Song, and it's coming down to provisioning and structures. And I will say the obelisk is taken back again for OV on the bottom lane, top side. That's 20 points per minute, guys. Not that big of a deal, but why not just have somebody throw one march in there? It's just Vic throwing over there with a Belisarius and just tapping it because nobody's inside. Just put one march in there. I know you guys are not all provisioning with all 5 marches. Come on, just throw one in there on that bottom lane just to secure that structure for you. Speaking of structures, I mean, with the exception of one outpost on the Song side, everything is equal as of right now, and it's only a 50 point per minute delta for Song in favor of OV. But again, it looks like Song is starting to bring some provisions back, guys.
Oh yeah, baby.
300 point game at this point with 4 minutes left. Ooh.
2,000 points right there. They're up by 4,000 now.
Now call me crazy for saying
You're crazy.
Call me crazy for saying that you wouldn't catch an OV provisioner dead coming home early, right? Like there's no way that they're coming home early. So OV, if they've got provision points,
Desire.
and war drums for OV, well, they're on the war path
at the
here.
Desert Altar. So it's going to be structures versus provisioning, or structures and provisioning versus just provision, I think I should say. And I think, unfortunately for OV, I think that just the pure provisioning is going to win out. There's just 3.5 minutes left. Really, you're denying those points for your enemy more than trying to take them for yourself. Although hard push coming out for Song as well, countering war drums with hard push. I asked which one they were going to use. Well, how about both? They just used both instead. And somebody with the Guan throwing the fingers down in favor of, it looks like Song.
We have
And
provision
OV just
marches coming in
dropping.
from Song as
You
well.
know, I mean,
Goodness.
you know that OV is under a lot of pressure right now because they don't
5,000
ever-
for-
Ooh. The
They don't ever
provisions are
seem-
coming in, boys. Top side. Oh no.
they don't ever use their skills typically and fail at what they're doing, right? Like
love of God.
you know they're under pressure because they're using a lot of skills and not getting the outcomes they're looking for.
Someone put a march inside that obelisk, I swear to God. On the bottom lane for Song.
All the
Just-
provisions are coming in,
Just throw
boys.
Richard Constantine in there. Here comes Saladin again from Vic. Tink. That's mine now. Oh, finally a Guan in there. Thank goodness.
Maybe that's what you had Vegas for. Just drop her in there.
6K provisions.
Something.
Or no, not 6K, 6K point lead now. More provisioners coming in. It's
5,300. 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
This
Now
movie-
look, it's like I said, you wouldn't catch an OV provisioner dead coming home early, right? Like they're not going to come home early. They still have 2 minutes of provisioning left.
they are coming in though. They're coming in.
Who's sending out a
Bottom
Ramses
side.
rally still to the bottom shrine of life here. Not slowing down any. This Sky Altar for the bottom side for Song as well, under heavy assault. OV pushing hard, but again, at a minute and a half, I don't think it's worthwhile. Everything should be provisioning right now. Provisioning or counter provisioning really is the name of the game right now. With a minute and a half left, taking a structure is going to do 1 minute of minus 100 points. We need to be getting thousands, people. We need to be getting thousands of points with now almost 7,000 points in favor of Song. 6,700, 6,300. Now OV coming in 6,000 even. OV getting some provisions back here, guys. Let's see. I see a lot more Sundiaks coming back. Sundiak bringing back. Ooh, there's another 500 for OV. Here's a Joan coming back on the bottom lane. Another Sundiak. More going out in favor of provisioning, just a little bit more. 6,000 points still, though. 6,000 point game.
I think that's the final. Well, not the final blow, but I don't see Song going back out for provisions. I think they're just now sending in with 38 seconds left. It's kind of
Yep. Everything's
Battle
coming
done.
back.
Everything's
And
coming
now they're swarming back. Now they've decided
Wow.
to swarm back. 5,500 point game. So again,
Yeah.
I mean, if you put your coins on one Song Dynasty,
1,000 Oryx. Yes. So excited. Yes.
yes.
Find the store out, baby. Yeah.
So again, guys, so this is obviously the first match. Let's talk about what this means, right? As we got 5 seconds left, 2 seconds, 1 second. Song 1.
Wow. There you have it. The 2-time Osiris League champions, OV, conquered by Song of 114. Leveraging the muscle they've got to punch through in the middle and the coordination to take and hold those structures, provisioning as well to top it off. What do we got here in this scoreboard? What are we looking at?
Wow. Look at the kills. It's been rare.
Ooh.
Been rare to see that many kills total.
Look at
That's
the
over
kills.
130 million kills between the two teams.
I love those
Now,
kills.
I've got to say, that is a lot of kills, but the kills are even.
Yeah.
It's about even.
You know what's not even? The Ark of Osiris score.
Indeed.
And the provisions. Double.
Yeah, double the provisions.
And that's with a
Wow.
33% reduction from last season. So if you were to remove that, this would have been even worse.
It's unusual to see OV provision as much as they did here. Normally, you'd see more from them.
Yes, but again, with the lowering of it. Now, something to keep in mind too, because I see a few people starting to get a little worried in the chat. This does not mean OV is eliminated. Okay, this is the play-in round of the playoffs, so it's a round robin kind of thing. You just need to be top 2 in your group to progress towards the round of 16. So, while OV did lose, this does not necessarily mean that they are eliminated. But if they lose again, that's a very distinct possibility. So something to keep in mind. It's never good to lose, just in general. And Song putting on a clinic on how to beat OV. OV has been relatively almost unbeatable with the exception of season 2. Seasons 1 and 3, they basically ran the board for the most part, especially once the playoffs hit. So this is something to keep in mind. We said at the very beginning, right? They never lose the middle. OV never loses the middle. Well, they just lost it twice. They didn't get a single arc, guys.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say, keep in mind, those of y'all who are viewing, OV actually did lose in groups last season. They did lose to SFS in their group. SFS ended up taking first in that group. OV came in second, and yet OV came back and won the Osiris League, beating SFS in the final. So this is not the last, this isn't the first time they've lost in groups, but I promise you, now they have tape. They'll rewatch it, they'll learn from it, they'll adapt, and they'll come back better.
Let's jump into the caster's booth real quick here, and then take a look at the bracket and how things unfolded.
I'm curious to see as well.
Yeah, let's get a look here. Okay. So if we get a look at the Osiris League bracket, we head over to the schedule. What happened in all these matches? It looks like 1V beat
Just
BG. That was a
was my other
very
big
close
bet.
match. Yeah,
That was my other big bet.
4,000 point difference.
Somebody posted it came down to the last arc for 1V, the last arc, so they won
Wow.
it based on the last one.
Justice beating SNC1. That's a huge deal, guys.
I told y'all.
Justice 2.5 billion alliance beating a 4.2
They had no troops. How'd they do
billion
it?
They
alliance.
gemmed it. We talked about it on our show, and Hova told me, he goes, these guys are so dedicated. If they have to gem heal in the match, they will gem heal in the match just to instantly get their troops back.
I'm
Wow.
going to the betting screen personally. That's just me.
see how you did there? Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yes.
this is pretty wild. And as Dragothian and Boba were talking about earlier, one loss does not determine who advances. One win does not determine who advances. you've got to be the top 2 teams in your bracket, in your group, in order to advance, okay? And that, by the way, is what that designation is of the 1 and the 2, which we were pointing out earlier, the bracket we were watching. F2 will be positioned over here, and F1 will be positioned over here in the round of 16. So there's still plenty of opportunity for every team to get their wins in and to qualify. Wow. Gentlemen, closing thoughts today before we wrap up this cast?
Also, before we do that really quick, I'm seeing in the chat that JST healed 26 million troops in their match. So something to think about. Just food for thought while we're waiting for the next round in just over an hour.
I'll add to your food for thought there, which is that I think S0NG did about 10 million of healing. Yep. And 8 million for OV, or maybe that's reversed.
These were not small teams.
Yeah, I mean, so everybody's doing some healing, it seems like. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So some takeaways, I think clearly, and then maybe Bulba can kind of fill us in before we wrap up. I think a quick takeaway is nobody's invincible in this KBK. I think everybody likes to anoint, whoever, right? They've got their pick right off the bat. It's the playoffs, guys. There's still 32 teams in each realm ready to duke it out. And if you made it to the playoffs, 95% of the teams here belong here. There might be a few that have squeaked in on the smaller realms just because they're brand new, and a lot of the teams just haven't played yet. But I think, especially when you're talking about realm of Horus, realm of Anubis, and even realm of Bastet to a certain degree, power doesn't matter. Power doesn't matter. Experience matters. And anybody can win on any given Sunday. I think that's what we need to take away.
To kind of add on top of that, there's 2 big takeaways that I want to make sure that I add in here. The teams that did win, a couple of them were teams that everybody had counted out already, which was JST, TR. There were certain teams that we're going to see several others that had really hard KVKs overlap with Osiris League that a lot of people had already discounted, and they came in and won. They came in and won against fully loaded teams. It comes down to those teams winning is dedication, willingness to heal if you need to heal, or gem heal, or you're going to see a lot of weird things that are going to happen, and it comes off of teamwork, and I can't say it enough. When you get to this area of the Osiris League, it's no longer about power. It's about your organization and your dedication to, strategizing and counter strategizing and doing stuff like that. And that kind of leads me into my second point with strategy. I think there was a little dark horse in here with our 114S team, where the idea of having tape on your enemies, on your opponents, comes key. Like OV has a lot of tape, a lot of casts on them that you can go and watch and strategize and counter strat. 114S is almost non-existent for tape. I promise you, they were struggling to find match films on 114S, and that comes into key when you're playing against a big team like that. So now they have some tape, other people have some tape, so we're going to see how it goes from moving forward.
Nice. Well, touching on your first point about teamwork, appreciate having the opportunity to cast with this crew today. Bulba's going to be back later today for the next matchup at 15 UTC. He'll be the host. Dragothian and I are going to be playing our matches at that time, but we'll be back at 19 UTC on this channel, casting. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss that coverage, be sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this cast for the very first Ark of Osiris League matchup here for the playoffs, then throw a like on here. We've also got our information in the description of this video for our individual channels. Check them out. Consider subscribing. And, well, we'll see you at 15 UTC, everybody. Until next time, good luck in your matches and take care.